Uh, That's based,
Sorry for the delay, folks. Town has quite the debacle with the transfer station and the waste disposal. Currently, we have or we're utilizing Conway incinerator, and in January, we received a change in pricing from 320 a trip to 700, and rentals of 50 to 150 per month. Um, So we had discussed as the board doing it, hauling our own, and Lynn, Patty, and Cliff, as Cliff stated earlier, made their ears bleed with the amount of places they called to get pricing and availability and things of that nature. So we currently have current rate is 320 with 50 per container, 56,480 cost annually. New rates at the 700, 150 would be 125,5. That's a 64,220 increase, or $69,020 increase per year. That's if we stay with current. We have a uh, estimate from CIA Salvage of trash compactor Eco Maine and back, 275 a trip. Haul recycle compactor, yes, trash compactor and the recycling compactors to Eco Maine, 275 a trip. Haul demo bulky to Pine Tree Songo Locks, which is in Naples, and back for 165. And to rent, provide two open top 40-yard containers at 75 per month. Compactors and demo containers will be returned to the transfer station on the same day or within 24 hours, depending on the time of pickup. There are no scheduled weekend pickups. Should a compact be frozen, they'll bring it into their facility and put it inside overnight to thaw. This will result in an extra trip fee. Open top bulky containers can be emptied at Pine Tree if frozen in most cases. They'll scoop it out. There will be no fuel charges unless fuel tops 5.75 per gallon. We will be responsible for the municipal solid waste, uh, recycle, construction demo from Eco Maine and Pine Tree. Um, to buy new containers, 40-yard is 8,800, and octagon containers 8,800, and 40-yard rectangle containers 9,700. If ordered now, it can be ready by the end of April. I contacted Casella Pine Tree. Currently, we're paying $70 a ton at Carberry to dispose of municipal waste, trash, and bulky demo. And Pine Tree that would go to Naples, it's 170 per ton. Um, so what the board had discussed was it was time, and I believe it was in a selectmen's meeting, to discuss the option of the town just doing it ourselves. Buy a truck, add a public works employee, buy 4 containers, and just handle our own trash so that we're not dependent on contract and we're not at the mercy of the current situation with Conway incinerator of more than doubling our rate mid fiscal year. That's kind of rough. Um, when we raise and appropriate, granted, it's going to get paid, but any overage we have to raise and appropriate at the next town meeting to replace into capital surplus, because that general fund, that's where it'll come from to cover that overage. Now we are a bottom line budget, so last year approved was 157,650. So bottom line budget is if it doesn't, whatever's left over out of that budget will will roll over. It'll, so it's not the total of 157,650. So. My opinion, I am not speaking for my colleagues or anyone else. My opinion is for the town to purchase a truck, create another employee position for Public Works, not for the transfer station, Public Works. That way it's dual role. They can be utilized either position. We have the money in the reserve account, the transfer station reserve account, to purchase a truck, purchase the containers, and you're roughly looking at a 2-year we've return on investment. Truck roughly 100,000, 3 containers is 21. So figure 150,000 on the roughly 250 that we have in the transfer station reserve account. We can buy the truck, buy the containers, be self-sufficient. We don't have to worry about increased contracts, anything of that nature, other than our drop-off points like Maine or Carberry or even Pine Tree, Casella, wherever we can get the best rate for tonnage. But that also allows us, instead of being stuck with a contract, that we can shop around for the better pricing. Payroll benefits, FICA retirement, paid family leave, 56,930 estimated. So typically on an average, the transfer station generates about $60,000 a year. So there's my reasoning for the return on investment of 2 years. The transfer station itself is going to pay for the equipment that's bought within 2 years. Any of the revenue that is generated at the transfer station goes into the transfer station reserve account. It doesn't go into capital surplus general fund. It is actually goes into that reserve account. So we've got a 2-year ROI on truck and equipment. The 56,930 estimate for an employee for pay is, I mean, we're going to drop on out of the 157,650, we're going to take trucking of $57,000. So just for the trucking portion of this budget, which is Article 11 in last year's warrant, we're $340. I know, $70 shy of that 57. Okay. Obviously, we're going to be over that 57 this year, just due to the price increase. Or even if we were to elect to go to CIA, we still have to get the container thing in position so that Conway Incinerator gets theirs out, takes our last loads out, and CIA comes in, drops our containers so that we can open the transfer station. So there's going to be a transition period happening there. So we'll be saving the 57, which covers a merchant employee in its entirety. So out of 157, it's 107,650, rough number off of last year's article, that it would cost to operate the transfer station in full. There would be some increase on the public works budget, fuel. Obviously, trucks are going to burn fuel, and maintenance, brakes, things of that nature. That I don't know how we would actually estimate that, so I'd be lying to you if I told you, yeah, we're going to plan on $20,000. I'd be lying to you. I don't know how to estimate that kind of usage. Okay, so I mean, different trucks have different gallons per hour, not gallons per hour, but gallons used. You could get one truck will get 7, another one will get 9. Well, 2 gallons miles, pretty significant when you think about it. So we're kind of in my opinion, kind of in a crapshoot, but and my opinion is bite the bullet, become self-sufficient, and we don't have to worry as a town of being beholden to anybody and experiencing mid-year contract changes, price increases that I mean, we're going to be quite a bit over this year. So, I've spoken my piece.
Rick, when has the old contract ended?
We signed the last contract in 2019 with Conway Incinerator, and we never signed another one. So we were essentially month to month. Yeah.
Per diem type or monthly type situation?
Yeah, I mean, we had the same numbers for a long time. I mean, I can't complain. We were treated well, but more than double, you know.
January to say if everything goes to town vote to decide how much money is actually expended as opposed to a decision between January and when they finally gave you the increase of price.
Well, we haven't had the price increase yet. I'm expecting April 1st. She's going to institute those new charges, and
3 months.
with more than double what so we would essentially in 3 months time do over 6 months worth of regular trucking fees.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, the price more than double. It was $320 a trip, and so that's $640, and the price is $700 per trip. So we're essentially going to wind up doing 3 months worth of business trucking alone at 6 months worth of revenue or payment. So
Would we be able to, for those 3 months, switch to CIA? Just that, you only?
I would guess, because Sean stated, and it's Sean Gerard, he's owner of CIA, he and Dennis.
No problem with that. Yeah. No,
It was somewhere. Contract.
We're gonna look for a used truck, right, Rick?
Yes.
If the new truck, what it's expecting, like this. Just to say that, we got one with, 80,000 miles on it.
Well, the good thing about this, the truck that would utilize, it'd only be utilized strictly to haul the containers to and from. So it's not having a plow put on it. It's very specific use. So as long as we maintain it, I would say 10 years. Easily. I mean, it's one of those things, 10 years, just figure 10 years out.
On the truck, just asking if you're going used or whether, are you looking at diesel or are you looking at gasoline?
Diesel.
Okay, if you're gonna have that in it,
Don't know, it depends on the year we look at.
because that would be another added expense.
Yeah.
Yep, I would prefer not to have DEF or regen. They suck.
But we're with CIA, we can get a contract for 12 months. And if we added the 3 months on, like shows us that if we got a 15-month contract, that would bring us into fiscal year next year. would give us 3 months this year, and then add 12 months for a yearly contract. And that would bring us into our fiscal year every year.
But if you sign another contract
Right here.
with somebody else, and they turn around at halfway through the fiscal year and bump the rates up.
Well, I mean, that happens with anybody, any contract, and no matter what you do a contract with, I mean, there's always.
But I
You know, I mean, when, you know, from year to year, any contract,
but
whatever.
what I'm saying is, you were so efficient, you even have to take that chance.
The only increase that you would see is if fuel prices go up, or if the landfill, Maine, whether it's Carberry or Casella that we go to, that they would do a price increase. Carberry just did an increase of $2 a ton. That was in December, I think, December, January. So we can minimize the shock of a increase.
If we were to.
If we do it ourselves, yes.
You have increases if you've got contract, one being fuel. They're trucking, and when you say there'd be a lot of increases that we didn't pay control. Like Rick was saying, probably most of the out there.
Yeah, fuel increase. One of the things that with contracts is, I'm sure with most contracts, there's always a disclaimer that if the contract holder incurs more expense, that expense will get passed on to you, the contractee. Because if not, then the contractor would be at a loss. And it could be at a substantial loss, you know, if that wasn't written in. I'm not saying that it is. I have not seen CIA's contract. But it makes good fiscal sense as a business person that you always, if you're going to incur, if the ability is that you will incur more than what you are charging, that you have to be able to go up on your rates when that happens. So the risk to me will always be there if we are under any type of contract. The risk is there. It's just more manageable if we have our own truck. Because as taxpayers, we're going to be in control of the payroll, pay raises, things of that nature. We're going to be in control of expense, just overall total expense of it. So again, my opinion is the town would be smart to bite off, become self-sufficient, and not have to worry about another mid-year or not this fiscal year, but next fiscal year. You know, like 26, 27, we do a 1-year contract, and then the next one comes out and we get notified in April, hey, you know, we're going up to $500 a trip. Because it's, as we can see, it can happen to go from 275 to 500 a trip. Now, once again, we're caught with our pants down because we have to jump through hoops to try to figure out what is the best and most economical way to service the town. And let's face it, out of all the things the town get service wise, getting rid of the trash is right on top of the priority list. So it's a good thing we don't have pump trucks for shit, because that'd be number 2. So yes, sir.
So, let me just, collect myself here. So let's say we get a truck and the truck breaks down and it can't be fixed in time to haul, then we'd have to rely on somebody else coming in to pull those containers and dump them for us, correct?
That's why it would be my opinion to speak to CIA or even Conway Incinerator and see if they would be willing to do a contingency contract. Most of them will, because all it is just hauling a container. They're making money.
Yeah.
So if we can have a contingency, that would be, in our benefit. I've not heard Lovell hauls their own, and so does Tri-Town. Can't remember the guy. Don something. He's your age.
I went to school, with him, I can't.
At,
Don.
He knows. He'll think of it when he gets in the parking lot. Watch.
Always happy.
So
See, then, Penske, they rent all the guys vehicles. So, say the truck, call Penske, they'll get a truck and that's much. You know,
Well, my feeling is like. CIA is coming in 275, we've been paying 320. So during the time that CIA's been hauling the last year, they haven't even gone up to the 320 that we've been paying. And also, if we went with them for a year on 15 months to cover the 3 months left, that would give us time to really investigate, what we want to do on our own. And we'd still be saving money from what we're paying now without the increase from North Conway Incinerator. It just, we're gonna have to scramble, we're scrambling now to get people to plow. I mean, the other thing is, with the private business, they can write off their expenses. I mean, that's how they make part of the way they make their money. So what we spend is what we do, and we don't write anything off to save money. So to me, yeah, and I feel we should go with CIA just because it gives us time for a year. Then if they want to bump us up next year, then we can do this whole conversation again about going into it ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my caution and I don't disagree that CIA is an option. I do agree CIA is an option. But we've only got 1 year's worth. We can't even say that we got 1 year's worth of numbers, because if where'd it go? We went from initial call to CIA, we were told 247, right? Would you agree with that? Yeah, but then all of a sudden, it went up to 275.
Well,
So, and now hang on, let me finish. So, right there, so we need to think about this. We sign a contract. So we're halfway through March. So we would sign a contract in April. So just say April 1st, 1 year contract takes us to April 1st of next year. In February, they come in and tell us we're going to $500 per trip, and we're going to go up from 75 to 150 per container run.
what good's a contract if they can do that?
Well, that's not what I'm saying, Frank. If we sign a 1 year contract,
Right,
April 1st of this year, and next year comes up. Now we're still at April. We're a quarter left of fiscal year before we get to end of year. Okay. So we sign contract April 1st. It expires April 30th of 2026. If we do that and they come in, of course, it's budget time. April, we're going to reach out to them in February. Hey, what are our, what's coming up for contract time? Well, due to the tariffs and whatever other thing they're going to say, we're going to $500 per trip. And this is all hypothetical because none of us can read the future. We're going to $500 per trip and $150 per container with rental fee. Now that takes effect in April. So we're still 3 months out left of a fiscal year on money that we raised and appropriated that we don't have now because they just doubled their price. Just because it isn't 7 and 100, it's 5 and 150. So, it's comparable in there, and we don't have a track of what their pricing over the past 4 years. It seems good. It really does. And again, I don't have a problem with this as an option. I just want to be careful when it comes to contract stuff like that. This large of an increase really spooked me as far as, ooh, this is gonna hurt. We have to cover that expense on the back end for the next fiscal year, so we have to raise and appropriate that money. And-
just to address the contracting again. As a bargaining point, we could probably, if they want us, and they probably do, go into a 15-month contract for the first contract. And that would bring us into June of next year, and we wouldn't have to worry about a bump in April.
Okay, so that takes us to June,
Yeah,
and then July 1st,
yeah.
they say, hey, guys, it's contract time, let's sign another one.
Well,
And we just went to, no, you can't say that probably.
no,
And this is what we need to be careful.
Saying is, they would probably give us a warning ahead of time saying, oh, we put that in the contract 3 months before. You have to let us know of any increase. The other thing is the 247 that they originally voted was actually what they charged Denmark. Now, they might charge Denmark a lower rate because they've been doing business with them so much longer. I mean, you got this information from Denmark, Patty, I'm from CR.
No, I haven't seen.
So that's what they charge Denmark. So, Denmark might be getting a cheaper rate for whatever reason, than the 275, but at 275, it's still only $28 difference,
Vinny, there's a whole lot of mights, maybes, and probablys.
Well, I mean, you're saying it
Like,
might go
well,
up to 500.
Well,
That's a big amount.
But what I'm saying is, my reasoning, and I'll defend my reason, is I'm looking at high side probability of we have to cover this amount of money by raising and appropriating, and your probablys are on the low end that, yeah, they're probably going to do that. We had zero warning with Conley Incinerator. And 2 weeks prior to this, she was sitting right in front of all of us at that table and never said a word to us. Nothing. So the probably CIA is they're not going to, and they're probably, this. I'm just looking at longevity wise. If we fight it now and we're self-sufficient, we have a very good approach for the next minimum of 5 years of no possible increases or us being held over a barrel, because it's going to take us time to get containers and it's going to take us time to get a truck and an employee. So, but again, that's strictly my opinion. I am going to be quiet. I have spoke my piece.
What does CIA charge? Do they charge us now for hauling the metal?
They do not. They own the container, and if the price of steel, scrap, if anything goes in that container, it's mixed metals.
Right.
It's
So I know.
it's the lowest.
Right.
It's the lowest of the lowest.
Right.
So if it's too low, we don't make a dime.
Right.
If the price is okay, we get a little bit. So,
But they don't charge a fee for the truck,
yeah, they do.
for the metal.
That's why we don't get the money.
So we
The price of scrap.
That's right. So I mean, if they ever bump their price way up, like nothing the incinerator has.
So no, we've never used.
Well, we use it for the metal.
No, that's a whole different setup. They're not hauling our municipal waste or bulky demo. What they're doing is they bring a container up, they dump it, and they run it across the scale as mixed metals.
Right.
Under whatever the tonnage is for mixed metals at that time. And I've seen it down as low as $35 a ton because I scrap regularly. So I kind of pay attention to what scrap metal prices are. So if there's no value there because the price of steel is down, then we get nothing.
Right.
I can't answer your question of have we ever had to pay them? I don't know. I'm not the treasurer. I don't cut the checks. So, but regardless, I've spoken my piece. Gentlemen,
What do you?
Yeah, one question I got, does CIA request a contract?
No,
Could they say
They said
anything
we
about?
could or they couldn't.
Okay,
they said,
so,
yeah, can do if necessary.
so we got, uh, 3.5 months left to the end of this fiscal year. So if I think we still got to do a little math here because like you said, the tipping fee is $100 more per ton over the
Yeah, Casella
the
trees, which is where CIA hauls. to.
right.
Yes, so
So that's got to be figured in there somehow
170 per
for
ton. So just 275, 170. So if we were to haul just 1 ton, it's 445. In a trip.
one option I'd like to just throw out there. I don't know if it will, we ain't got any figures on or whatever, but for us to purchase 2 containers for our compactors, because we're gonna have to have them no matter if we go in the trucking business. And do some math and figure out what the difference is between. I know that cheaper, $275 per trip, but then you gotta add the $100 per ton on, you gotta get an average of what they're hauling per, how many tons they're hauling per trip.
Just figure an average for household waste 6 ton.
6 ton.
I'd say 6 ton.
Okay,
Bill,
$600.
would you say 6 ton bill with Eco Maine? Right, roughly per trip.
1.5.
Right. Yeah, so just
So that's an extra $600 right there for the tipping fee.
uh 2 compact 40-yard containers of 17,150 from this company. I think you have that from this place here.
Yeah, I think that. Don't have-
Waste clip.
Here, you want mine, Frank? You wanna look at mine?
That's
Same
all
thing
right.
as his.
I'm not gonna try to figure it all out right this second.
Yeah, yeah.
I can tell you that right now. I'm just saying, one option would be, let me just back up and forget about the figures for a minute. One option that I can see could happen is we purchase 2 of these for our compactors so that no matter which way we go, the trucking, we got that covered. Okay, then if North Carolina Incinerator jumps their stuff up to $700 a trip and CIA is willing to go without a contract, we could jump right on them and say, listen, we want you to finish out this year at least. And we can get the figures together for a truck and a man and all that, bring it to town meeting and see what they say. Because I think it's quite a step to take without any input from the town taxpayers. And I can see what you're saying as far as saving money. I mean, you can't keep going the way we are. They're gonna jump it up that price.
I'm just worried about the future increases. We're not gonna have control over the future increases.
Right.
Because contract is contract is contract. If we are doing it ourselves, we, the people, have the ability to control it without sudden changes. And sudden and large changes, subtle changes, they're to be expected. Every one of us personally are feeling these subtle changes in our pocketbooks on a daily basis with just gas and groceries. Well, I got plenty of those.
Yeah.
We're all feeling it, and subtle changes in this is to be expected. I'm very concerned with how quickly this went over double,
Right.
overnight, no questions asked, and I would actually love to mitigate that for the best interest of the town. Again, none of us have crystal balls. We can't know the future. We don't know how contracts are gonna be handled or pricing, anything like that. I'd rather just bite the bullet and have control. And not have to worry about the other aspect of, is there gonna be an increase in 3 months? Is there gonna be, what's going on with this? It's worrisome and, you know. It is what it is. Yes, sir.
True fact is if you go contract, you don't know, and I know for sure we don't fight the bullet, buy some cans, truck soon. Every day, well, $90,000 truck would be 100 next week. You gotta kind of consider that.
I agree.
It's, call Western Store or a car, it's, but last year I bought locals if they,
Double.
double.
Cat filters almost tripled
Yeah, so,
down at,
I mean, the more you'll purchase it, something, if you get a contract for however much you was talking, and then it'll be thousands of trucks, looking at now it's 120. Same truck, same miles. Like,
and that's really the biggest problem is weighing the options and coming up with something that's feasible that the majority of the taxpayers are gonna accept. And that's extremely difficult.
Yeah, that's why I say we need to do. We need to do your home, we need to do our homework, and be able to come up with some hard and fast figures of what, you can't predict the future, I understand that. But you at least need to know where you're gonna send the material, what it's gonna cost to start with. Give them, if you lay it all right out, you're gonna have a chance of getting them to agree with it, and you'll have to say, wow.
Just to summarize what Frank is saying, what I'm thinking with CIA. If we, like Frank said, we buy our containers now. CIA will haul our containers and return our containers. As far as what this says, if we get a 15-month contract, that carries us into next year. And then if we put in the contract 3 months prior to the termination of the contract, they have to notify us of any increases. Then we'll be at the same place we are now, but at least we'll have our own, like Frank says, our own compact containers. And we'll, have a 3-month leeway to figure out if we want to go again, like we are now, into purchasing everything. Because right now, this year, we're spending like crazy. I mean, we're looking at a salt shed, we're looking at a door flooring, we're looking at all the money we already spent. We're getting hit pretty hard this year, I mean, as far as I can say. But my feeling is, like Frank suggested, get the containers. Like Ricky suggested, if we get bumped next year, then we really work hard, going our own way. But if we go with CIA now, it's still cheaper than what we're paying now. If we can lock them into that contract for 15 months.
So let me ask you, I have a question, contract.
Yeah.
What do you think the likelihood is that CIA is going to allow us to alter their contract? Because they're going to present the contract to us as a standard, their standard business contract. And we want to stipulate that they have to give us a minimum of 3 months notification on any increases. And you want a 15-month contract on a standard diploma.
Well,
hang on, what if they come back and say no?
Well, we won't know that until we ask them, but
That's not what I asked.
Yeah,
What I asked was, what are we going to do if they say no?
well, they already said we don't even have to have a contract
So then why are we gonna ask them for 15 months?
because that's what we want. I mean, that's the bargaining area, and if they want us to do business with us, like we want to do business with them, then we negotiate like any contract. And we see what they're, you know, they might be willing to do it. If they're not, then we see what their best offer is. You know, it's like any negotiation, you don't know till you get in it,
Okay, I'm just trying
you
to
know,
sum this up. If we sign a contract with CIA
yeah,
for 15 months, like Vinny is stating, we already have a contract with Conway and City.
Yeah,
We don't have a contract.
nothing.
not an actual contract, it's month to month.
Oh, it's a month-to-month contract. Okay. Let me rephrase that. So we sign a contract with CIA, say we're 3 months into the contract,
Yeah,
they can turn around and say, in 3 months, your price is going up to this. So then we're only 6 months into a 15-month contract and we got hit with a
they can't,
pains.
no, they say the only way they would bump up the contract, I mean, it might not, from what they stipulate here, is if diesel fuel goes up to $5.75 a gallon, there will be a few, that they want to put that in there in case that's
Okay,
goes out of whack.
why did Conway increase theirs? It wasn't because of fuel charge.
Oh, no, so because, why did they charge
Right
us?
there. Who knows? So who knows if CIA is gonna just stick to the increase in diesel, or if they're gonna come back and say, no, we're bumping it up because of the containers.
Well, we don't know what North Conway incinerated, why did they charge us $3.50 when Denmark was paying $2.47? You know, I mean, is that, because that's what North Conway incinerator does.
Okay, I thought it was CIA that was charging 247.
They come out with $2.47, now they want, well, that's what they charge Denmark, it's $2.47.
Right.
Now they want to,
But you said Conway was charging.
no, they were charging $3.20, I think, for $3.50, and then they want to go to $7.20. But CIA charges Denmark $2.47, they want to charge us $2.75, which is $28 increase. And it's still cheaper than the $3.20 we're paying now.
I agree with
Right.
Right.
Even though we have a contract, they can still, it's like me having a rental property. I can put out a 30-day notice saying I'm jacking rent. There's nothing they can do about it. They can put out a notice in 3 months saying, your price is going up to this, you're either gonna pay it or we ain't calling for you.
But if you're gonna rent the property and I got a lease with you,
I don't know.
you can't.
You can,
Well,
as long as you can jack.
yeah, I mean, no. Well, that's if it's written in the lease that way, right? But if you do a contract, we're doing a contract for a sign, right? And
You handle.
they guaranteed that price until August, I think it was in the, right.
Right, but you're talking
Because
truck.
I love it.
They don't,
Well, and they're making a stipulation if diesel fuel goes up.
You know,
I mean, but they're they're getting locked in at $2.75.
a majority.
The only reason North Conway incinerated is what, is because we don't have street track.
well, even it's like I'm saying, you know, we have a contract, they can still come back and say, we gotta jack the price up.
The next year's the new
Oh,
contract.
they don't have to wait till next year, they can do it in mid-contract.
Always.
I've signed contract with Fairs and, you know, once I sign a contract, that's,
They don't understand.
it's just. Contract work. I mean, it's all how you negotiate. Well,
So you're in favor,
go ahead, Bill.
A little bit ago, Frank said, you can't predict the future. So if right now, this community is capable of financially handling the purchase of a truck that would take care of our needs, as well as a couple of those cans that would certainly help us in that area. If that's our capability, and if we can't predict the future, we may not have that capability tomorrow. So I would suggest we seriously consider getting it and getting it as quickly as we can logically do so. Now, having said, this general discussion is about trash. And I always look and read about trash. So I'm telling you, this is picayune compared to what's coming down the pipe. There's gonna be a day when you won't have any place to take it. So if you think they're raising the prices now, you wait till the government says You got 3 more years and then we're closing you down. No more trash over there. You wait till you see the income, the price go up then. So this is small time compared to what another board of selectmen in Brownfield is gonna be facing. And in the not too distant future, the big place north here in Maine, they just reopened, they had to push the outer limits of it back a little more. The people up there are going bananas because the dump's coming right over the top of their head. I'm telling you, if we've got the money to take care of this need, we should take care of it and get on with it. Because big things are coming in the world of trash. Thank you.
There is one simple statement for that. If you got money, you got to spend money to save money. Just that simple. So
Yeah,
That's if you save money.
You know, in Massachusetts, now they even have no place for the people who live in Falmouth to take the trash. So they have trash trains now. 70, 80 cars filled with trash. Here we come, Minnesota. All the way to Michigan and Minnesota to get rid of the trash from Cape Cod. I'm telling you, it's coming.
the one part that I didn't hear you say anything about, Vinny, was, so you get a contract for 15 months, then you start to revisit this. What is your thought that the price of purchasing a vehicle is gonna be at that point?
What's the cost at that point?
Is it gonna be the same?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't predict what, well, I mean, nothing's gonna be the same, but things might be less at some point, and some, well, in a possible recession. I mean, that's, the president even said that, when you don't hear presidents saying recession. But I mean, he said, might be a possible recession because what's going on with the stock market, the tariffs, and everything else. And then if you look at what the state of Maine budget is, there's a little recession there.
I appreciate all the knowledge that you have from a political standpoint.
Right.
But I don't need you to educate me on that or anybody else here. We do read. We have our own sources, but we're sending with them. So, please, you make decisions based on what your needs are now.
Yeah, and
But 15 months from now, you won't be able to touch that vehicle for anything close to what it is at this point.
well, right now we can go into a contract which is cheaper than what we're paying now. It gives us time to really, like Frank's saying, we need better numbers. It would be nice to have more accurate numbers. We don't know, and that's my feeling. I mean, I don't like rushing into things like just because some things are unpredictable here, some things are unpredictable over here. If we can sign a contract that's predictable with the negotiation, if it is that way. But I just don't like rushing into things till I know all the numbers, and we don't know all the numbers.
Rather wait until increases take place to make a decision.
Well, I'd like to, I'd like to wait till I get more accuracy. I mean, I can't predict what's gonna happen in 15 months. The economists can't, the people playing the stock market can't. I mean,
So 15 months, when the contract is over and you say, okay, now we don't have a choice, we have to do this. Truck's 200,000 and all the fees and everything and the containers have tripled in price. Now, then what are you gonna do?
well, I can't
Put it in the
predict,
backyard?
I can't predict what's gonna happen, but you wanna predict.
Right, but
I mean, you and, and the other people, you wanna predict everything's going up, right?
everybody's going.
Whoa. Well, back up, Hot Rod. I'm not predicting, and I never stated that I'm predicting that the prices are going to increase. What I said and what I was talking about was they could.
Well,
Now, and again, how many times, folks, did I say, let's have a crystal ball?
Yeah.
So, no, I was not stating that the prices were gonna go up. I was simply putting it out there as, look, if they go up, we're gonna pay more money. So no,
I used the wrong word predictive. It's,
none of us can. I mean,
I should have said.
we don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. I mean, hell, one of us here may not wake up
Either
to
way, the way we don't know that.
Yeah, it could be me.
That's why I
Yeah.
go with the lower rate now and we make our decisions.
Just don't know where I'm going.
No, you're telling- go ahead.
No matter which way you go, be it CIA or buy a truck. Either way, you still gotta get 3 containers, correct? 4, okay.
Two open tops and two
Yeah, he
open
knows all about
tops.
the things, so
Okay, so no
Yeah,
matter.
correct. Two open tops and two compacts, right?
Well,
So we got rid of the other one?
Yes, and Ray and I are working on, they've been charging us for 4, we only got 3.
Oh, I was going by the building.
Well,
The
no,
4,
because
we were-
bought-
oh, we got that new one.
Container.
Yeah, we got rid of the junk one.
The only 2 we own is the 2 closed off compact and one.
Gotcha. Okay.
okay, so no matter which way you go, you still gotta have the container.
Yep.
Okay, so you go say with CIA, all right, for your contract. April 1st, April 30th, okay? Between now and town meeting time, figure out how much money you need to do a used truck. That way, it gives you a certain amount of time to do that, have everything in place by April 30th of 2026. Going. You don't have to do a 3-month extension, etc. And how reliable is CIA going to be when they get phone call to come and get a container because it's full? How reliable are they? Because I tell you right now, Richard called them this morning for the metal container. They said, it will be there today. When we left, they still hadn't showed up. Where is that going to leave us if they don't show up? And we've got 2 full tracks in here. Now what do we do? If we have our own stuff in place in time, a truck, that truck can pick that container up the day after and take it down. We don't have to wait 2 days like we do now on occasion.
Jeff.
With all the reports out now, not only reports that, that economists are predicting, but also CEOs of corporations, the cost for vehicles across the board is going to start to rise astronomically. What that's going to do is it's going to force anybody who wants, let's say, a roll-off truck to look for a used one, whether it's from a bankrupt company or whether it's just one that somebody wants to get rid of. And those prices are going to go through the roof because that's what people are going to want to buy rather than a new one. They're going to buy a used one. And I think the sooner that we act, and I understand, it should go as an article, but if we can get all of our ducks in a row, I think we really need to move on this. And I think that would be our best bet in the long run. Does anybody know how many trips we make a year?
206 average.
How much?
206 average.
206.
I think it's an example of the price increase on vehicles. If you go back to code, I was getting offers nonstop for my car, which was used, because there weren't any. And it was almost more than what I paid for the car to start. And that was during COVID, so that, that's not gonna go away coming.
The used market is making some smoking money.
Yep.
Hence why I've got dealers.
I've got to say something. I'm old school, I guess you might say, because I've been involved in town for 30 years.
Did you say old?
Yeah, old, real old.
Be careful.
And back in the day, everything that the town purchased went through town meeting, okay? We didn't buy nothing without permission from the town. But if you stop and think about it now, we've advertised this meeting here tonight, and see how many people's here. Yes. That tells me that things are changing, should change, I guess. Because if no one's interested in trying to help us out, then I guess we gotta do it.
And the same can be said for town meeting as well. We average 120. There's been town meetings as low as 78 recorded. That is not the majority, but we can't force the taxpayers to become involved or show up. And you know, it seems like more and more each year it's coming up. Well, you know, it's not convenient. They got kids and they can't do this and they can't do that. And they got to go work at night and all. Everybody is busy. Everybody has something to do. So there really isn't a universal convenient time to match everybody's agenda, you know, their time frame. It just doesn't happen. So I wish more people were. Oh, yes, 100%. It would make our jobs a hell of a lot easier.
Well, it takes the pressure on us. When they say yes, then all we gotta do is do it.
Yeah.
But if we do it on our own, then it's all on us.
I will, with that, I will say to every taxpayer out there, this is recorded, correct? I have zero problem being held responsible for any action or decision that I do while a seated selectman, period. I will always justify my actions and my decisions to any taxpayer that wants to approach me. I have zero qualms with that. I'm here for that. I was elected for a reason. I like to think that that reason is people think that I would do a good job for the majority of the town. But first and foremost, I will always justify my decisions, my rationale, and my actions. Yes, sir.
This meeting tonight was to inform us, but is it also to try and get it put on the ballot, or is this a decision that you three can make to move forward?
The town meeting warrant is the selectman's warrant.
Okay.
The select board chooses what goes in.
No, sorry, I misunderstood my question.
Yeah.
Is this something that you three can decide either tonight or tomorrow?
We cannot decide now. We have to be in a selectmen's meeting in session in order to make any decisions, because it has to be a motion and vote.
Okay, but is it something that you three can do in a selectmen's meeting, or is this something that has to go to town vote
No, we can motion and vote.
to move ahead if you choose?
Yes,
Okay.
either way you go, whether that's with contract or buying our own equipment.
Okay.
And the only aspect that has to go to the taxpayer if we buy our own equipment is a fourth or adding the employee portion that has to go to town vote. But purchasing the equipment, not signing contract or anything of that nature, and expending the funds out of the transfer station reserve account is majority vote of the board. That can happen at any in-session meeting.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you can buy a truck for $100,000 and you expect it to last for 8 years, that means the truck is, you know, basically worth $12,500 a year. And if you add $60,000 to that, each year would cost $352, which to me seems like a pretty good deal, looking at that. And that's just rough, quick numbers. You know, there's other, take the boxes, they're separate. It's a whole separate item.
The last set of compactors we had were 20 years old.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't figure that into, you know, like if you're looking at, you know, it's per trip.
Yeah.
So it's $352 a trip, you know, and we can control that as far as what it's going to cost us. That's a pretty good deal.
Most trucks, most diesels, if they're taken care of and stuff, even though it may come in with 100,000 miles on it, you can get close to 1,000,000 miles on it if they maintain.
Figure 500,000. On the bigger trucks, which is what that would be, it'd be a twin screw. Big motor. Figure 500,000 for an in-frame, which is about $15,000. If they have to completely overhaul the motor, 15 grand, thereabouts. 15,000, yeah. That's, that would be an in-frame with having the heads done. And that's pretty universal. Cat, Packard, Max Force, any of the bigger motors, Cummins, it's pretty standard in-frame. If you're doing the full electronic ones, if it's that new.
Hope not.
Well, if you did, I mean, those there, the sensors are what get you, the electronics is what gets you. That could stay away from chemicals. Do not buy again.
So Mark, we wouldn't mind trying overhaul that in our backyard, like one of our backyards, like that. I think we could save them 15,000 to give us a chance.
Well, yeah, I got the money.
Ooh, I'll go with it. Do you need an A driver? No,
Anybody got?
no. He needs a sugar mom. You're gonna stay here and work.
That?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna align a little bit with Frank, and Bill, both kind of, my opinion would certainly be to buy whatever containers to be independent of everybody tomorrow. However many we need, take it out of transfer station. The bigger stuff as far as the truck and employees, I believe in the democratic process a little bit, so it would be of my opinion that goes to town vote. Having our own containers means switching to CIA immediately, it seems, if that were to work. And then after town vote, figure out, as Frank said, figure out some better numbers to present to the town meeting at that time. That's just the way I believe that's the way it should be done. That's perfect. Personally, I would vote for it. I think that's what we need to do. The truck, the employee, I think we need an extra employee anyway, to cover vacations, sick time, transportation, station, extra plowing, whatever. I think that would be a huge asset for our town and or in the future, maybe mowing. So we're not beholden to a mowing contract as well. It's not a huge item, but it's still a contract
So 13,
that
1370.
we cannot control except on a. I mean, right now, I think we're doing a 3-year contract. Either way, it's contract per home.
3-year, 13,762, I think was the number.
I look at another, in my opinion, in the future, another move towards independence and our own crew to take care of it. Then we can better bigger numbers. So that would kind of be my thing. I definitely think we should do it sooner than later, but I think the bigger items, unfortunately, the truck and the position should go before town book. Containers, I would say buy them tomorrow.
One thing I will point out to everybody is the transfer station reserve account can be utilized for the transfer station requirements with majority vote of the board. Buying a truck of containers there is no reason to appropriate. The reserve account will still have over 100K in it. And like I said, the average transfer station revenue per year is about 60,000. So that's pretty good. Hence the ROI of 2 years. You're getting your money back into reserve. Because it's generated revenue that goes into that reserve account. So Very well.
Another thing, the contractor is in the business to make money. Town is in the business to save money, right? Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
You
The
do
town's,
it
the town's in the business of not making any profits.
well, yeah, to do it at cost. Whatever that cost may be, who knows, right?
Yeah. It could definitely.
But the contract
it could
is cost
vary.
plus.
It could be very, it can vary.
Let me just say one thing, you might not know too much about it. When the town switched from contractor plowing the roads and maintaining
Yeah,
the
it wasn't.
roads, and then
That
it
was
was
what, in the sixties?
80.
Eighties.
I can tell you some stories
Say,
make your hair
say
curl.
1882. I was 10 years. Man, brother.
You missed a lot of excitement, buddy.
I have trouble hearing back there. I have a question for you. Let's say you go with a truck. You said something about a fourth person for down to transfer.
No, I
Okay.
did not. I said public works employee.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, the reason I ask that is because, as you know, I have a class A.
Yes, sir.
I'm at that transfer station. I know when they gotta go.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what mine,
But would you want to work 7 days a week?
what's the difference?
No,
No, because you're not really gonna be working 7 days.
you could be. If you have a bumper.
You can't work on the weekends because the places aren't open.
Yeah, but you work in the transfer station.
Yeah, I know.
As long as you're working Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, that gives you Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And what if you're hauling containers those 3 days? Because we have a bumper. Spring cleanup. Now you're in the truck, so you're working 7 days a week, and that could go on for a month.
Yeah, well, I didn't think about that one. But it doesn't bother me any.
Plus, we give you up on the plowing.
The
You
what?
got a class.
Plus, we don't want to give you up when we need a plower, someone to plow.
Yeah, well.
We need you.
Let's put it this way. If you do with somebody, I'll still do it as a fill-in if needed.
I appreciate it.
How's that?
Yeah, appreciate it. I do.
Just like I do now with Cliff with plowing.
Don't watch Cliff though. It's kind of shady.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Right, make a motion. Well,
Yeah.
so,
All right, folks. Is everybody good? Good? Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Thank you.